So I'm still working on the Astrodoodle here, so I'm probably going to put up another piece of music for you guys. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say hello, and I see you have showed up. And Precious Moments is looking for a love and relationship mini reading. Okay, so let's put that on the books. Let's get that all set up. Little Bubba is here making sure I do a really good job. He's my supervisor. Thank you very much. And Mimi needs an initiation. Ow, ha, 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 ha. Mimi Blue Music. Okie dokie. Okay, so Mimi, tell us about yourself, okay? This is a tiny little channel, and I do a show every Sunday evening here in the United States. And I do about maybe 3, maybe 4 readings in the evening, and usually it's by donation. Hello, Delicia, I see you. So I love knowing where people are, like locations and maps and things. So Mimi, I'm just going to call you Mimi, okay? Me, music, big question marks here. Basically, what's going to happen, Mimi, because Dear Precious Moments has reminded me of one of our ancient rituals on this channel. Every now and again, we have a spontaneous moment where we have an initiation. And it's more or less like getting hazed at high school or college or junior school or something. It's not mean, it's not evil, but it's kind of fun for everyone else here who shows up on a regular basis. So, we're going to give you a little smorgasbord taster just for thrills, okay? Usually it's by donation. Some people make huge donations. And, there's Karen over in New Zealand. Hold on, I got to do some check-ins there. So wait a minute. Mimi, you've got your own magic post-it note, okay? So start typing. Tell us a little bit about you and your situation, your location. Okay, so we've got questions about love and relationship. L and R. Let's just call it L and R, okay? Kia ora. All right, so we got 2 readings up already. Let's have a look. Let me finish the Astrodoodle, okay? So give me time here. I need a few moments, if you don't mind. So let's have a look here. Okay, here we go. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, so just bear with me, be patient. It takes a few minutes for me to color everything in. All right. me a second here. I just got to... hold on. All right. So, let's check in. There's a couple people here. Thank you very much again. And good evening and welcome to Terra Lumination Sunday Night Live. This is the Terra Lumination traditional Astro Doodle, which is what we do here. And we've got 3 folks lined up already. I don't know if Mimi is still here. She might have got scared already and just disappeared. I don't know. Maybe I scared her because Precious Moments was suggesting we do the initiation. Oh, yay. Okay, we'll see. Anyway, who knows? You know, people come and go. People show up. Sometimes, you know, we have a full house. And sometimes it's very quiet. You never know. You never really know. Let's go over here. No, I'm sorry. Let me hear. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. I wanted to say hello. That's right. I wanted to say hello. Here we are. Greetings. Good evening. I'm over in the West Wing right now of the Terra Lumination Estate. This is where we house all the library, for all the readings that I've done and all the research that I've done, and files on pretty much everybody in the universe. You know, not everybody gets a reading, but we do have files on everybody. Anyway, yeah. Oh, Necessary Truth is here. Good evening. What would this show be without Necessary Truth? And a few others. I think I said hello, Karen, over there in New Zealand. Thanks for dropping by. It's great to have you on board. Now, let me go back over to the Astrodoodle because there's some amazing stuff. Janet Webster is here. I was going to ask you, Janet, I knew you were going to show up. I was going to ask you, have you got icicles hanging off your eyelashes? I mean, you guys got slammed. I mean, Necessary Truth, you must have got slammed as well. Delicia, I can't remember your location. I'm sorry. Are you getting slammed by these big nor'easters over on the East Coast? What's going on over there? Gregory, I think you're safe and sound over in Santa Fe right now, as far as I remember. And Mimi Blue, we're still waiting to see what happens. Okay. All right, let me go back to the Astrodoodle. I just want to, go on one of my little rants here. So let me see. How do we do this? Okay. Clickety click. There we are. We did it. So as you know, it's typical. It's a mixture of red and green. I try to keep it really simple. There's so many other things we could do, like some of the asteroids and the fixed stars and all of that stuff. But the extra bits and pieces we do here is the nodal axis and a little bit here and there about Chiron. Chiron is a very sensitive sore spot for all of us, okay? Precious moment. Maine got 3 feet of snow. Canada is already melting. Okay, it goes back and forth, but it is winter in the northern hemisphere, and stuff happens. So I've seen a few clips. So here we are. There's the world. Mimi disappeared. I don't know where she is. Mimi, are you going to come back? Please let us know. But anyway, let's have a look. All right, so everyone over here is getting slammed by this massive nor'easter storm. I have family over here in New York and Long Island, and I'm pretty sure they're getting slammed. I'm always curious about the state of Maine. I know that Necessary Truth is up around here in New York, and Janet was over here in, is it Western New Jersey? Sort of that area. And of course, Karen is having a super time because it's summer over in New Zealand. Yay! Thank you very much. And Gregory is safe over here. Okay. We'll see who else shows up. Delicia. Oh, that's Elizabeth Boucher of all people. Greetings, Elizabeth. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry I haven't been in touch recently, but, the story is still going on. And I'm sorry for all the things and the ways in which I've let you down over the years. But I still regard you as a dear friend, and thank you so much for being there for me like I like to be there for you. Greetings. There's my dear friend Elizabeth Boucher, everybody. Anyway, those are the big storms that are happening over here right now. And they're piling up and getting ready for another big massive wave. There's a huge cold front coming in down here, heading this way. And of course the warm wet air is heading up this way. And so we get a classic, weather front, which looks like this. And that's going to shift across America like so. And so where this blue line is, back here it's going to be freezing cold and snow. Over here it's going to be crazy, like dangerous, like black ice and stuff. And in the middle, it'll be ice and ice storms. Okay, right there. Anyway, some of you might be aware. I don't know if you've been. I've been enjoying this. There is a huge. You see, here's Ottawa in Canada. I hope the map shows up. Let's have a look. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see Ottawa over there in Canada? That is the capital, the ruling capital of Canada. And almost everybody who lives in Canada lives along this borderline here with the United States. Of course, Precious Moments is up there. But, she gets around. She has connections in Maine, as we know already, some of us. And here are the Great Lakes, of course. And so what happened a few days ago, a massive freedom rally was staged in Canada, starting from, I think it was Winnipeg, and then all the way to Vancouver, and they decided we're going to all meet up in Ottawa. And so 50,000 truckers are headed all their way to Ottawa, and thousands of them are now parked up in Ottawa in the capital. And so the whole of the capital is shut down because they can't do any business because there's thousands of truckers and truckers. Not only that, there are thousands and thousands of supporters who came from all over Canada to support the truckers. And of course, it's a freedom rally against these jabs, these injections, and all the heavy restrictions that are being put on our borders for commerce and trade and truckers to move back and forth and to have successful business and successful open supply chains so that America gets all its food and produce and oil and gas and stuff from Canada, and we can ship stuff to Canada. But at the moment, it's all shut down because of that fellow Justin, the French guy over in Ottawa. He's kind of a part of the commie elite. Anyway, so just recently, a ton of other people came from the East Coast to join the folks over in Ottawa. So there's thousands. Last I heard, it was about 30,000 American truckers and so on came up to Ottawa to support the Freedom Rally. Basically, it's so funny. Yeah, so hello, Path. I see you there. So I'm very, very happy. To me, this was a very, very exciting moment, and it coincides very beautifully with the astrodoodles for the days. So over here, this is very exciting, and because this is very big news. Of course, a lot of folks in America are never going to hear about it because the mainstream media will not broadcast this kind of news because it's too disturbing for the status quo. I mean, you might see something on Fox News or something like that, but otherwise you're not going to know about it. And so most of Americans are completely oblivious to the freedom rallies. Most of the Americans are still comatose and unaware of what's happening on a global scale. Over here in Europe is a different story altogether. The whole of Europe is in a kind of chaotic meltdown right now because over here there's Ukraine there's this massive distraction going on between Ukraine and Russia, which is being exploited by the United States to make it look like something incredibly important, like World War III is going to be starting right over here any minute now. And so what that is, it's a distraction so that nobody looks at what's going on over here. Because what's going on over here is, of course, the Beijing Winter Olympics, which is, at the moment, I don't know why anybody would want to go there. It's some kind of like demonic control system that's being imposed on the events. And anyway, I don't want to get too stuck into that, but anyway, on a global scale, the real problem stems from here, okay? CHINA, okay? And so the big problem is going on between here and here. But the mass media, mainstream media, don't want you to know that, because this is actually a game of collusion that's going on between here and here, where the elites, who are stationed around here and here and here and here, and a few other places, they are doing everything they can to create a systematic, controlled demolition of the United States and Western Europe, Central and South America, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Southeast Asia. Those elites are trying to systematically crush the economies by playing these silly games with bugs and needles and mandates and all of that lunacy. And it's working very well, I have to say, because everybody in America thinks we're heading to World War III over here. But in reality, what's happening is between here and here. This is more or less what I would call theater. So there's a lot of running around and activity going on over here. And it fits perfectly. Let me go back to my astrodoodle a moment. So look at this. Talk about a massive stellium. It's been going on all yesterday and all of today. We have Pluto, Mercury, Moon, Venus, and Mars all piled up here in Capricorn from almost like 0 to 30 degrees. So it's a massive stellium. It spreads across the whole of the Capricorn vibe. So wherever the Capricorn vibe sector lives in your chart, you know, over here for planet Earth, it's right there, but it could be anywhere in your chart. There is tremendous pressure right now. Whether you have planets there or aspects or anything, it's still a lot of pressure. And from my perspective, it's all about the reality check. If you notice, even though it's a very intense, powerful, large stellium in Capricorn, and a lot of times we've been associating this with tremendous stress because of the Pluto energy over here at around 27 degrees, which of course is the angle of, let me just mark it here, 27 degrees, which is of course the angle of the Pluto return for the United States, which is coming in early March, and just in a few months, you know. So whatever happens in the United States is going to affect the rest of the world. And that's just how it is, especially when it comes to global finance and politics and economics, okay? And war. So anyway, there's a huge cluster here right now, but it just happens to be very lucky that it's in a very sweet, nurturing alignment with the North Node here in Taurus, and also with Uranus in Taurus over here. This is almost like a massive wall of green. You know, in some ways I'm tempted to just put a massive wall of green. In fact, I'm just going to do it. I'm allowed to. It's my own astrodoodle, but it's going to become a mess. How about this? I'll do this and this, and I'm just going to color it in like this. So this is one of those rare moments where we see a tremendous amount of harmony and beneficence for planet Earth. And the way I see that playing out is with the extreme reality checks going on over here, including Mercury retrograde, right on top of Pluto, in terms of global commerce and everything, in deep harmony with Uranus and Taurus, also about global commerce and global finance. And so the way I interpret this is that the elites up here, represented by the shadow side of Pluto, are starting to realize, my God, our plan to turn the whole world into a totalitarian, authoritarian monster system controlled by a handful of corporations, basically the corporatocracy, which owns the plutocracy. Okay? If you want to, you can ask me more about that. But the idea is that we've had so many stressful elements relating to all the Capricorn, but right now, at this moment, this is actually very harmonious. So the way I see it is that there are some very serious reality checks coming up here with like karmic energy on a global scale for the elites and for humanity simultaneously, where we are seeing that there's no question about it. There is a new world unfolding with global finance, and it is heavily stressed here because it has to serve the people. But what's happening here with this massive wall of green and this massive super high stress factor here between the Aquarian energy and the Taurus energy, actually let me mark that with more red. Let me put more red there. Like that, you see? On the other hand, we've got the green there too. So it's perfectly balanced. It's absolutely beautiful. So what's happening is humanity, the people, we the people, are very, very slowly starting to wake up. The United States, sadly, is the last and the slowest population to wake up. And the reason is because the American population has been the most subdued and the most, I would say, deluded and, let's say, betrayed by the elites. And so we are the last to wake up because in reality, the whole of Canada, Central America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, India, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, they've already woken up. They've already realized that this is unacceptable and that there's something really perverted and sick going on planet Earth, and it's not acceptable. And slowly more and more people have decided we need to do something about this. So we are getting these freedom rallies, and they are now expanding, accelerating to the point where we just had this huge one over here right now at this moment in time. So I see this as, again, with all the Capricorn, serious down-to-earth reality checks regarding the North Node. In other words, we have to get, see, the North Node is actually in Taurus. Let me mark that here. It looks like it's Gemini, but it's actually in Taurus, okay? Okay, and there's the South Node. So there's a huge, okay, so let me do that. I'm going to do both things here. So there's a huge emphasis here on the North Node to get things right financially on a global scale. And the way that works on a global scale is to have a new financial world order that honors and respects and takes care of the people, we the people. At the same time, the plutocracy up here, the corporatocracy up here, is aware of this, but they don't want it to happen unless they can control this and own this. So they're doing everything they can to do it. They're creating the CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which is basically copycatting the China model where they completely own you and control you and you have no rights and no privacy. And they can shut you down just with a button. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, everything. And it's not going to happen. Okay, they're going to do everything they can. So this massive wall of green here is at is in heavy contrast with the red over here. In fact, they're working together because when you combine these two together, it's creating this super high friction, which is bringing the situation to awareness on full consciousness. It's okay for me to, I wrote a book about this stuff years ago, and it's all coming to fruition. And there's a lot of stuff coming up on YouTube and independent free news, which honors freedom of speech, that's now talking about this on a regular basis. But this has been building up for decades, but now we are at the moment of extreme pressure. I mean, look at it. This is the red, this is the green. It's coming like this. This is all it's the fake money versus real money. It's the war between fake money and real money. And it's going to become very exciting, very interesting over the next few years. Luckily, everyone here is aware of that because that's what I've been talking about. And I'm going to keep talking about it. And I've learned a lot. I'm still very much a novice, but I'm learning a lot. And when I have more confidence, I will share with you what I know. All right, let's get on with things. I just want to check in with everybody. Hold on. Let's see over there. Hold on. Yeah. Hi. Hello again. Sorry, I went on my little rant there. You know, when you look at the astrodoodle, I look at it on a global scale, okay? How's it affecting the planet Earth? And then how is it affecting humanity and all these organisms that live on the surface of this planet? And how does it all work? Because it's literally gravity and magnetism that holds it all together. Okay? The tides go up, the tides go down. Our emotions change and shift as the moon cycles change. We have core natures, characters, and personalities that seem to be embedded, imprinted in us with our DNA, and it seems to match extremely well with what they call Western astrology in the very simplistic way that I do things. So I give it truth. I honor and respect this stuff, and it's become a very important part of my life, and I like to share what I can, when I can, how I can. Anyway, that's where we are today. So right now, all day yesterday and all day today, we've had that 5-planet supercluster stellium in Capricorn. So wherever that lies in your chart, that is a very significant part of your life. And it's about profound reality checks. What is actually happening with you in your life? Now, the other interesting thing coming up is the Aquarius new moon. You know, it's just around the corner, literally a few hours, a few days away, you know. And that's the start of a whole new chapter. I believe it is also the Chinese Lunar New Year. So there's a lot of mayhem that goes on in China with hundreds of millions of people, literally hundreds of millions of people traveling all across the country to get back with friends and family and do their barbecues and, you know, sushi, whatever they have, you know, chow mein and, you know, orange chicken or whatever. And then at the same time, the Beijing Olympics is starting. And it's starting just after the Mercury goes direct, and it's going to head back into Aquarius. So I am anticipating chaos for China, because none of it makes sense to me. The Aquarian theme is very, very important for China and the Chinese Communist Party. The Aquarius theme is also very important for the United States, because the United States South Node is in Aquarius. So it's going to be very interesting times. So we're going into the Aquarius season. Well, we're already in it for the next few weeks, because the sun is already there. Saturn is already there, testing humanity. Humanity is testing itself, you know. So let me go back to the stage a minute. I just want to check a couple things here. Give me a second. All right, so I have my little rant. Watch it. Watch the news. Watch the MSN news. It's on there. Oh, okay. MSN. That's I don't know much about MSN. That's a Microsoft News Network, right? Something like that. All right. I was very lucky. I got to do a few private readings last week and into the weekend. Got a couple more lined up during the week if anyone's interested. I forgot to mention, in case there's people watching like Mimi. I don't know if Mimi's still here. I have a feeling Mimi disappeared. Maybe she got scared about the idea of getting hazed. It's not a big deal. We're just kidding around. Excuse me. Where did I put that thing? Oh yeah. So I hope this makes sense. I mean, I'm talking in very broad strokes here on a global scale. This is the nodal axis. It's been building up to this for weeks, if not months, but now we are finally here. We're at the 29 degree mark, north node in Taurus. And so we're going to be dealing with for the next year and a half or so, something like that. And it's going to be all about global finance. So you're not going to be able to escape the news and the themes and the subject of global finance, global banking. And eventually it is going to affect every single person on planet Earth. I guarantee. Okay? If you're picking, tea leaves in India, and one of your family members has a smartphone, it's going to affect you. Australia, New Zealand, all across Southeast Asia, there's millions of cell phones here. There's like 1.4 billion people here. There's 1.4 billion people here. There's 1.2 billion people here. That's a lot of people. And they're all connected. They can all see, if they wanted to, they could watch this show right now over here in Singapore. But I've never had anybody from Singapore. We've had someone from... Well, the energy is very weird today because it's very extreme, okay, Janet? Personally, I'm enjoying it because I'm really, really enjoying this really intense, hardcore reality check on planet Earth. And it's a very rich, harmonious energy. But it is in very hard contrast with this extremely harsh aspect here. So it's like the gravitational fields are heavily concentrated over here and highly contrasted here and here. So it's like, it's like when you're rolling dough or kneading dough. Sometimes things get really weird and you have to really stretch it and pull it. Or it's like when you're trying to sail a boat and you want to go from here to here. And it's great if the wind is following you like this. But if the wind is coming from here, then you have to sail in such a way that you go like this. And it's very challenging, it's very stressful, but it can be done, okay? Hold on, I just saw a note from Necessary. I got to check. Tina! Oh, I'm getting pretty loaded up. I'm probably going to abandon Mimi because she's not here. So yeah, I can handle Tina. And Necessary said she just sent something on my PayPal. Give me a second here. Yeah, Tina, sure, let's do it. Yeah, I can handle it because really, in fact, it's two. I'm going to cancel Mimi. She's not here. I'm probably going to have to cancel Zahab Gohar because they never showed up again. They donated and then the show ended or something, but I never got to do their reading and they never came back. So I'm just saying... Thank you very much. I'll just treat it as a donation. Mimi, thanks for asking. But those have to go for now. Tina, yeah, I can handle it. Necessary Truth, thank you very much. Yes, I can handle that. So I will write yours out. I will write Necessary Truth out over here. I can handle it. I can't take any more than 4. That's, to be honest, that's how I am these days. All right, so I'll put that over here. Yeah, and if you want to, Tina, you can pop something in the PayPal, however you want to do it. Now, of course, when I go ranting on about all this stuff on a global scale, we could go into all sorts of little details about eventually, to me, it all comes back to this, extreme pressure up here from the elites, the elites. Okay. Hey, Janet, probably not tonight. I can do something for you in the week, okay, Janet? If you want to set that up, don't worry about it. We'll follow up, but not tonight. I'm going to wait to see if Tina puts something in. If she does, that'll be the lot for tonight. Precious Moments, Gregory Ross, Necessary Truth, okay? I don't know what that is. It looks like it's Russian, okay? Thank you, Tina. Okay, let's just do it. I'm just going to put it up there. Okay, that's that. We got a full house. We have a full house. Thank you, Tina. And we'll leave it at that. Super duper. I hope you're patient, Tina. Even if it's just 4 readings, it can take a while. So please be prepared to hang in. So let's do that over here. I think I tried to explain last week that I collect information from sources that I believe are genuine, based on truth and facts, rather than propaganda, because pretty much everything that comes out of here on the mainstream media, I see it as propaganda, and the stories are all twisted in such a way to keep the masses in a stupor, so they do not ever question the elites, okay? But from almost the rest of the world, the facade is already breaking apart, and the fraud of the elites is becoming so apparent everywhere else in the world, and it's like America is the last place to figure it out. Now, I check in with my, my cohorts and people that I trust, and it all makes sense to me. But it's like, I'm listening to them, and I believe them, and I trust them. But okay, let me just share something a little bit interesting here. This is just, I'm not going to use names or anything. But what I'm noticing here, personally, in my personal life, is that I'm, 1 or 2 degrees of separation from people that I know about or have met here now that I live in Las Vegas. And these bizarre situations are happening where these people are like, I've had my jabs. I did all that. I've had my 2nd jab. I've got my booster. And then yesterday, one of those people typed in like, oh my God, I got the bug. Oh, well, I'm going to have to get another jab. There's so many people here who've had their jabs and then they get really, really, really sick. Okay? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you a little bit suspicious, So, there's some sneaky shenanigans going on in the mainstream media. So, I guess what I'm saying is that basically wake up. There's no point in me telling you guys to wake up because a lot of you guys are already awake. There was a lovely member we had about a year ago, and she departed, and she used to be a real supporter, and then she discovered that I have views that are very contradictory to her own views about how the world works and politics and economics and stuff like that. And so she had to separate herself from this community. And to me it didn't make any sense because it felt to me like you need the community more than ever. So anyway, so I'm basically letting you know, I've never had any shots. Now it's okay for me because I'm not under certain pressures. Like if I was raising like 3 kids and a household, and I had a really important job, and I'm up to my neck in debt, and I can't afford to quit my job because of principles, because I don't want to be injected and I don't believe in the injections, then I might have had to deeply compromise myself and get injections anyway and just suck it up. And then end up suffering like all these people I'm meeting here. There's so many people here I've discovered who are getting much more sick after their injections. It's not like that for everybody, but that's what I'm seeing here. I'm just letting you know. I never trusted it to begin. To me, it's all part of the massive betrayal. But anyway, let's get on with it. We got 4 readings to do here. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Tina. Oh, thank you very much. I'm just going to go and do a little reconnaissance here. Give me a second, folks. Okay. All right. So we did all that, and. Oh my God, got septic. Oh my God, that's gross. It's terrible. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, Janet. It's a Phizer. Oh my God, those people are freaking criminals, man. Hardcore criminals. It's amazing. Anyway, I don't want to get into trouble here. All right, let's have fun. Let's talk about tarot. Do fun tarot readings. Let's forget about all the really scary, creepy stuff that's happening all over planet Earth right now with humanity. No problem. Let's just put this aside. Just treat this as a very interesting, abstract piece of art. Okay? Thank you very much. All right, so Precious, love and relationship, love and romance. Let's just put it all in one basket, shall we? All right, I got to clear the space here. We need room. Okay, that'll work. We got enough space. Let's get my. I'm going to get the Universal Gold in here because it's such a sweet, beautiful deck. Okay. Take the purple pill. The damage that is happening to the people that I know about here is mind-boggling. It's just ripping their guts, their brains, their lungs, their immune system. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. As you know, some of you already know. Give me a second, Precious. I'll be right there. Some of you know my own personal view is that all of this is heavily planned out. It's been planned out for years because the people at the very, very top of the pyramid have started to realize that their game is over. So they're trying to rebuild and recalibrate based on the old game, but put a new facade, okay, on the front. So the way they have to do that, the traditional way, is to create chaos, war, destruction, mayhem, death on a global scale. And they did that in World War I, they did that in World War II, they did that in Vietnam, they did that in South Korea, and they did that in the Middle East, and so on and so on. They did it over in Bosnia and parts of Eastern Europe. But we're at a global scale now because those folks at the very top of the pyramid, they can't do what they want to do without basically killing millions and millions and millions of people and creating so much fear, so much chaos that they can just walk in and say, hello, ding, 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 knock, knock. I'm here. I'm right here. Trust me. I am here to save you. Vote for me and I will save you. In fact, you don't even have to vote for me because I'm going to make it and arrange it so that I am in complete command and control. That's that's the plan, basically, in a nutshell. And it's not working. When they issued that bug, the CCP bug, it was supposed to kill about 30, 50, 100 million Americans. It didn't come even close. Okay? So here we are. We're still alive. We're still going, people. Uh-huh. All right. I just wanted to. I had to do some adjustment with the technology. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll be right back. And so, Leslie Itaki. Hello, Leslie. Thank you for visiting. If you want a mini reading, the show is already booked up for the evening. I can't really take any more, so I invite you to hang out and see what we do and maybe come back next week. But if you want to, I can show you how to book a private personal reading where we can go deep in and figure out what needs to be taken care of. Let's have a look here. So, Leslie, you go to terralumination.com and you play around with all the tabs and the buttons, and you can book a reading. There you go. You can connect with me and tell me your story, and we book a reading, and we do it live in person, and it feels very similar to what we're doing here right now live. It's just me and you, but there's nobody else. It's fully private. You can say whatever you want about whatever subject you want. You know, health, relationships, love, money, finance, real estate, your spiritual journey, career, whatever it is, home, family, blah, all of that, blah, 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 tarot, astrology stuff, you know. I just wanted to let that know. I'm just mentioning that to Leslie. I hope I said your name correctly, or at least sort of close, okay? But anyway, Leslie, we're getting on with the show now. I've got 4 readings ahead, so we got to get on with it, okay? So, yeah. Thank you for listening in, by the way. Thank you, Leslie. Precious, you're up. Okay, here we go. So we're looking into the subject of, you know, love and relationship. Guess what? It's probably one of the most popular topics in tarot and astrology. Some of the really big channels that I love and respect, I haven't seen them for a long time, like Lada Duncheva and also Kelly Rosano. Those folks, they're really, really good at what they do. I also like Barbara Goldsmith, and I like what's her name? I forgot. But anyway, there's tons of good people out there. Oh, yeah, so tonight's beverage is basically Trader Joe's own brand whiskey. And the glass is already empty. Uh-huh. All right. Sorry, Janet, I haven't read all your notes. I've got to get on with the reading here. We can connect during the week, okay? All right, Precious, you're up. Now remember, anything and everything can happen when we do these readings. And it's just a diagnostic tool. I'm not telling you what to do or how to do it. I'm not saying things are good or bad. It's just like when you go to, a car tech place, auto tech place, and you say, my check engine light is flashing. It's on, it's on, it's on. Is my car going to blow up? And they come out and say, hey, let's do a diagnosis. Okay? And they plug in the diagnostics tool, which is basically my Tarot Lumination situational spread. And then they tell you, oh, it's your catalytic converter. Oh, it's your exhaust system. Oh, it's the mass air meter. Oh, it's the oxygen sensors. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? So that's all we do here. You already know that, Precious, but in case there's people watching who don't understand. Okay? Okay. All right, let's have a look. So, dear Precious, here we are again. Thank you. I'm really glad to have you. You're like, You're like an honorary member, you know. Remember when we used to have like the Patreon memberships? And we had like the weekly events, and people would show up on my private Zoom, and we'd have all these big hangouts. In theory, I've kind of initiated another one, but I don't know. It's it's very hard for me to get my energy lined up to do those. But let's say I figure it out. What I'll do is I'll send out an email to everybody. And I'll send out a time and day, and hopefully that'll work for some people. And we can have one of those private Zoom things. And that's literally where we all see each other. We can talk to each other live. And nobody can stop us. Nobody can censor us. There's no censorship or anything. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. We haven't done it in a long time, probably in years. But if somebody you remember, some of you might remember West Side Watcher. She still supports the channel, but indirectly. She's a very busy healer herself and helps a lot of people, but she doesn't have really time to come to the show. But she definitely supports my channel, and she was very interested in having another group hangout. So I'll work on that, okay? Okay. All right, so let's bless this deck. The whole deck, every single card, the cameras, the lighting, the technology, all the multiple softwares that I'm using to run this show, and the electricity, the wires, the platform, the YouTube folks. Even though they have completely crushed my channel, I'm still here. I'm still alive. There are things that I can do, but I haven't done them yet because things are very different now to when I first started my channel. So it's very intimidating. But anyway, let's get on with the show. That's why we're here. Okay. All right, precious. Let's have a look. Sorry, I had to take a little bit of a breath there because sometimes I get like this runaway energy when I start to do these shows, and I get very immersed. And then I have to kind of consolidate and, you know, come back down to earth a little bit and remind myself that I'm really just an instrument here. A lot of the stuff that happens here is between your invisible friends, my invisible friends, and this little show, this channel, these readings are just a portal of communication, okay? All right, cards are well shuffled. We've done the blessing. Let's see where things go from here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. I'm not sure, but if I recall, Precious, you have a significant Capricorn theme in your birth chart. I can't remember the details. I don't store anything like that. I don't remember anything like that. But and I just thought I'd mention it. So if you're feeling, in some ways, a lot of intense pressure, but also perhaps some optimism, that would make sense to me. All right, so I'm going to look at this over here as like external energy. It could be the love relationship vibe. It could be the planets. It could be something else. We'll see. And then we'll go into the diagnostics. This is the situational spread. Okay. So we have the Knight of Wands. I'm really happy to see this because I think it relates to the Mars energy. I think it's relating to the Mars in Capricorn energy over here. Mars just entered Capricorn. And I think what's happening, if you look at the Mars, okay, you know, think of Mars energy. Mars is the warrior. Mars is the planet that energizes the person to do what has to be done, to basically get up, do things, attack life. Dive into life, move forward, What are you going to do to get what you have to get? No apologies. It's very much about me, me, me. I am alive. I am a living thing. I deserve what's mine. I'm going to get what's mine. I have to get what's mine or I die. And so it can turn into the warrior type of energy. It's do or die. It's the same thing, the energy of like a little baby. When you think of it, a brand new newborn baby, it's a very strong kind of, Mars rules the Aries. And the baby's energy is typically do or die. In other words, I am going to scream or yell or pee or poop or sleep or do whatever it is I have to do to survive. If I'm hungry, I'm going to scream until I get fed. And I don't apologize. And that's because they're a little baby. But put that into an adult, Mars in Capricorn here, that is very serious, like do not F with me kind of energy. I need to do what has to be done. So this to me looks like a very strong catalyst, but in the Capricorn energy, it is expressed in a very, let's say, measured, deliberate, highly focused, very effective, well-managed way. So I see this as the energy of opportunity for you. In other words, to me it feels like you're surrounded by the energy of opportunity to do whatever you have to do to get whatever needs to be done for you personally. Now, how does that translate into love and relationship? I'll come to this, and there's a second storyline here, but for right now, it's like, what's that expression? What is it? Do what you love what you do. But it's more like, why am I lost? There's a certain very, live by example. Okay, let's use that. Okay, it's almost, to me, the message feels here like in order to have a satisfactory experience in love relationship, it's almost about having to live by example, where, you as a female, you as a woman, women often subdue their energy, or let's say compromise their energy in order to accommodate the male, because they don't want to upset the male or upset the status quo or the balance or the harmony of a relationship in case the male gets pissed off. Because when males get pissed off in love and relationship, things can get really ugly really, really fast. And so there's a long history in human behavior of women compromising themselves to accommodate the male behavior. But what I'm sensing here with the Knight of Wands is that it is your right and your duty and obligation to stand in your power, stand in your strength, stand in your own, let's say, dignity, and move forward in a very measured way with love and relationship. Live by example. In other words, the laws of attraction. You want love, be loving. You want to be loved, be loving. And so how does that look in love and relationship with the Knight of Wands? It's all about like, okay, I'm sorry, precious, this might sound like I'm really off on a tangent, but what it feels like to me is like, it's like a very mature energy, like in love and relationship. Let's say if there is some friction or confusion or misunderstandings or things that don't make sense yet in love and relationship, this is an opportunity to come forward. It takes a lot of courage to do that. That's the Knight of Wands. It takes a lot of courage to point out something and say, hey, listen, darling, my sweetheart, my lovely, yummy little cuddle bunny, we have something going on. But I have to tell you, there's a couple things that aren't working for me. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm just observing. And I want to bring that up because what I want is probably what you want, is a loving, successful, fun, satisfying relationship. So me, I am making my business for that to happen. Okay? I hope you don't mind. I'm not trying to rub it in your face. I'm not trying to own you or take charge of the relationship or exert my dominatrix energy. No. I am a woman. You are a man. So let's do this. Okay? That's what I'm sensing. Okay? Sorry, I got a little bit theatrical there, but I had to try and express the energy as clearly as I could. What's the situation itself? Woohoo! Okay, so we've got the Queen of Wands here. To me, this is also very supportive. This makes me feel that if you, dear precious moments, are in a moment, sorry, I said that, I didn't mean to. If you are in a precious moments, where you might be having a microscopic moment of doubt about your own awesomeness in the context of love and relationship, then my feeling is that the Queen of Wands here is just a reminder that, you might not be a supermodel, you might not be a trust fund baby with millions of dollars that you can, bring to the relationship. You might not be like a virgin. You might not be, like the most, having a spectacular career, a spectacular resume. But it doesn't really matter. To me, it feels like what really counts really is just like remembering your own awesomeness. And then it's almost like, oh, duh, I forgot. Like, I've had so many readings from Tarot Lumination. Why didn't I remember? It's so freaking obvious, okay? So that's what I'm sensing here for you. Precious, is this just like with the Queen of Wands energy? It's really about remember yourself. Get back into yourself, the selfhood, and understanding that you are a multifaceted being. Let's take all that Capricorn energy. 5 planets in a massive stellium, all, you could say, lighting up or magnetizing certain nuances about yourself and your nature and character. But when you squash it all together into one thing, it condenses into the Queen of Wands energy, which is a simple reminder like, precious, don't forget who you are, okay? Do not forget who you are. Let's put it this way. You are loving and you are loved. You deserve respect. You deserve honor. But of course, as you know from watching this channel, you got to be loving to be loved. It's not the other way around. You can't just sit there and wait for some like magic prince to come fall out of the sky and decide like, my dear precious, you are the one. To me, it's almost like it's the other way around. It looks like this story here, situation is about like a very simple like shake up, wake up. Duh, precious, wake up. Duh, wake up. You're already aware of this, but you might be embarrassed about it. Some people are embarrassed about their own awesomeness. Okay? Talk to the New Zealanders. Talk to some of the Australians. But in New Zealand, I don't know if Karen's still here, but in New Zealand they have something called tall poppy syndrome. And in a nutshell, that's all about the community makes it their business to take anybody down who seems to be a little more awesome than your average community member. And it's in a way, I mean, it's nice to have that sort of sense of like we're all one and everything, but it's okay to shine, okay? To me, it feels like it's just remember that it is your right and duty and obligation to shine and represent yourself in your best light and no compromises, okay? Living by example, be loving, be loved. And sometimes that means taking charge of a situation, but not doing it in a way to belittle or demean the other party. Okay, now what's the problems here? Okay, so you might be terrified that there is like imminent danger, okay? Like fear, Like there might be some part of you, like a little part of you, maybe it's justified, maybe something happened with you in your love and relationship world where something really contentious happened, where it has triggered a massive fear response inside of you to the point where like, oh my God, have I completely destroyed the relationship? Oh my God, have they completely destroyed the relationship? Is it over before it even started? That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is like, oh my God, am I willing, ready, and able to enter the world of love and relationship where I know that at any moment I could be betrayed and I could experience the ultimate pain and suffering of betrayal? And the thing is, dear precious, I have a feeling you already know what that's like. And the last thing you want to do is to have to repeat this again somewhere else in your life, okay? So it's an understandable fear. But remember, fear, false evidence appearing real. And that's the lunar energy part of the self where, there are reverberations from the past possibly still affecting you here today in the present moment. But the past is not now. We're talking about the power of now. In terms of the now and the present, consider this energy, okay? Okay. So, this is a very understandable fear. And in some ways, precious, your reading here has a far broader reach than just you personally. It's almost something that affects womankind in general, okay? Because womankind in general has a very long history of taking a serious beating when it comes to love and relationship. And when they do end up with something that seems like a love and relationship, they discover later on that it's actually kind of a mediocre compromise. But they accept it anyway. And then they end up bearing the burden of a mediocre compromise relationship. Well, things are changing, okay, precious? You have a right to something good. But you also have legitimate fear, okay? It's understandable. So how are we going to move forward? Woohoo! Wow. Look at all this. Oh my God. Oh my God. So we got the King of Wands here, okay? So the way I'm interpreting this, the way to handle it and move forward is to understand, like what I was talking about earlier here, be loving, be loved, but you're talking about equals. To me it looks like in order for you to maximize and enjoy the potential of a relationship, it requires you to have to stand in your power, stay in your power, without any form of abuse or trying to assert your power. Just purely living by example. And not compromising, okay? And what that does, it puts the other party on notice, okay? In other words, it's almost like you are sending a secret message out there to the other party. Like, if you want to get with me, you're going to have to show your stuff. This is what your stuff needs to look like. If I'm going to get with you and you're going to get with me, I need a guy who's got these gifts, who's got these qualities, who's got these classic male characteristics of courage, respect, honor, integrity, power, strength, a love of life and the fun of life, and the willingness to protect and defend in order to maintain that quality. That's all embodied here in the King of Wands. And it's almost like you're saying, I'm all that, and I'm willing to offer that. Okay? Question mark. How about you? Because for me to hook up with you, you got to be willing to hook up with me. I am one of these. And I'm not an easy catch. I am much more inclined to hook up with one of these. But for this to happen, we got to be in a state of parity. Can you imagine what would happen if you actually clicked, okay, precious, and you end up in a situation where over time things start to develop in such a way that despite your worst fears, you might end up with something where you have this very classic, beautiful situation where you stand in your strength and their power, they stand in their strength and their power, you demand that of them, and they expect that of you. The thing is, a lot of times, the males expect the woman to lay down and take it according to a highly dominant energy male nature. But in this situation, the only way that things can work is when there is parity, okay? Oh my God. All right, so going forward, precious, how are we going to deal with this? Let's put it this way. Like attracts like. Okay, so in your own way, remember to understand, stay in your power, stay in your strength, your glory, your light. See what happens. And trust in the laws of attraction. Okay? Trust in the laws of attraction. And I'm not saying this is easy because there's so much power associated here. Like, I don't want to beat this reading up. Let's just leave it as it is, okay, precious? So, the way to go forward is live by example and allow them to show their true cards. And what you need to see is this, okay? If you don't get this, then there's something out of whack, okay? This is actually a really beautiful reading in its own way. Now again, precious, I don't know the details. You don't have to tell me. Time will tell. See how things go. But of course, obviously, I wish the best for you, because if you've already laid the groundwork and you've got something rolling and there's expectations for the future, perhaps exactly starting on the Aquarius new moon, you might look at this in a totally different way after you sleep on this reading for a few days. And then see what happens in a couple of weeks from now when we get the Leo moon opposite the Aquarius sun. Okay? Thank you, precious. Oh, you're a Sag? Oh, okay. I forgot. Uh-oh, Mimi's back. Mimi, where were you? I tossed your post-it note. Love it. That's why I feel I should be in Maine. Oh, 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 oh! Maine. Hey, precious, as far as I recall, you've already done a reconnaissance trip to Maine, and then you went back to Canada, right? Now, if you... Do not rush this, okay, precious? This is something that where you can take your time. Again, let's work on this over the longer term, but I've been to Maine a couple times, like 25, 30 years ago. It's a very beautiful place. I think you know that already. Right now, of course, it's getting pounded, and it's like Arctic weather, and everything's frozen, and there's snow and ice everywhere. But yeah. All right, let's shuffle up the deck. So, dear Mimi, I see your notes here, but right now, I got to honor the... Mimi, okay, look at it this way. What I'm going to do now, because I thought you disappeared, I'm going to read for these folks here because they paid good money with donations for their readings, and to me it looked like you disappeared, but now you're back. But I'd like to get you your little mini we'll do a little mini quickie. If you're willing to stay here at the show to the very end, I will give you a little mini quickie, okay? All right, so let's go back. I'm going to write another post-it note for you, but you have to be very patient. Yeah, I can scroll back through the chat, okay? So it's very much about love and relationship from conflicted feelings, okay? You don't have to say anything more, okay, Mimi? I'm just going to put a big heart here and a big question mark here, okay? And, you know, if we do personal readings, private readings, and you book and you pay really good money for those readings, then I use my Tarot Lumination crucible spreads and all of that stuff. But for tonight, right now, we're just going to use the situational spread, okay? And it works fine for love and romance, okay? Love and relationship. Oh my God, I need a beverage. Wow, that happened really quickly, didn't it? Gluggity, gluggity, glug. Cheers, everybody. Mr. Ross, you're up. Mimi Blue Music. By the way, I have a very strong musical streak inside of me. Mimi, I don't know if you've ever looked at my channel close up, but there's a lot of music on my channel. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. All right, Mr. Ross, thank you very much. We're going to do a little mini reading here. It's a situational spread. If you're okay, I'm just going to go blind, go wild, and see what our invisible friends have for each other. Remember, when I do these shows, I'm working in very tight, let's say, concert with my invisible friends, and I invite your invisible friends to come and enjoy, and that's how we make the most of the readings. I don't really talk about it much because mostly these days I just do it on autopilot, okay? But yeah, so typically what happens, there's Mr. Ross, okay? Here's True Illumination. I've got all my invisible friends over here, and Mr. Ross has all his invisible friends over here. And what happens behind the veil is that it coalesces into like a conversation, which eventually condenses down into a little mini reading, which turns into what we call a mini reading here on Tarot Lumination Sunday Night Live. There you go. Don't look at that. I don't really pay any heed to jumpers and flyers and all of that. I don't really hardly ever do oracles anymore. I in my own practice, I've found that the cards have so much to say already that I can hardly fit them in a reading anyway. So I just keep it really simple. I use the same spreads. I have my situational spread, my heart spread, and my crucible spread. And that's pretty much all I do, except for, now and again, I throw in the extensions. Anyway, here we go. All right, Mr. Ross, what's going on? What kind of stories coming out of here tonight? Everybody probably is aware Gregory is a long-term supporter of the channel, and we've done a lot of work together, for better or worse, and I'm very glad to have Gregory as a, I don't know what to call you, friend, associate, client, member, follower. Cheers, Mr. Ross. It's an honor to know you. I've learned so much, by the way, by working with you. I just want to let that be known to everybody here. Okay, here we go. Actually, no, I'm going to do it again. I need a little bit more. All right, here we go. Okay, we're good. Now we're clear. What what messages do we have here tonight from Mr. Ross, from our invisible friends, in a way that's condensed down into a little miniature situational spread that we call a tarot reading on the Tarot Illumination channel. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it, because that's really what life is about. And let's look at the external influences, environmental energies, and all of that. So we have the Two of Swords here. So my feeling is right now, tonight, in the United States, because it's nighttime in America. Hold on, I need to get my charts and all of that. Give me a second here. Okay, with the Two of Swords, I don't really need this. What I'm sensing here is a really powerful Neptunian energy over here. So I'm thinking Jupiter and Pisces, Neptune and Pisces. That's very, very strong. But if you notice, if you look carefully, I have to look very carefully with my astrodoodles. There's a powerful sextile here, and a powerful trine here. So even though this energy in its own way, on its own, can be very difficult to handle, it's actually very supportive. It's almost like, how can I describe it? It's almost like, how can we make the best of the things that are hardest to understand? Okay? And what the Two of Swords is saying here is just like, dear Mr. Ross, trust implicitly in your intuition. Allow yourself to go into deep meditative states however you do that. Go for a walk. Go to an ice cream parlor and sit on the counter and eat an ice cream. Go to a pet rescue clinic and look at all the little animals that are looking for adoption. Something that really triggers your heart center energy to explode and open to the energies of empathy, compassion, and love, okay? Above and beyond what you do already, okay? Because you're a very loving person. You're a very loving man, okay? You are loving and you are loved. But how does that work for you in life? And you need to know more than what you know already. And what I'm sensing here is, like right now tonight, okay, with the moon is in Capricorn, but we've also got the new moon Aquarius coming up very soon. And that's a cycle. It's going to last for 2 weeks up, so it's the Leo Aquarius, the Aquarius Leo energy. So what I'm sensing here is kind of, I don't want to overemphasize it, but it would be tremendously advantageous to do something like go for a walk in nature. Bring a pipe, bring a beverage. Something that's almost like where you're totally tripping out, but in a very sober, clear kind of spiritual way, and allow yourself to connect with spirit, with your invisible friends, divine guidance, and learn what the messages are that come to you. And it might be something completely unexpected, and it might appear irrational or doesn't make any common sense. But it needs to happen. Okay, what's the situation itself? I think the closest analogy is, again, I don't know how things are in Santa Fe, but this is very strange, but it feels like it's worth going to the animal rescue center and looking at all these animals and being surrounded by creatures who are completely powerless, and they are totally dependent on the energy of love coming from someone and somewhere else. And what you need is that in your life right now. So I think the way to do that is to tap into it through a secondary pathway. You might have pathways already that you do on a daily basis, but to me it feels like we got to take it to the next level. I just saw something flash on the screen. The nodes are flipping soon. The nodes have just flipped, okay, Tina? The north node is in Taurus. The south node is in Scorpio, both at about 0 to 29 degrees. So for the next year, it's all going to be about global finance, okay? Okay, sorry, Gregory, I had to get that out because that's a very important message, okay? Here's the situation. Okay. To me, this feels like it's a very powerful message that you yourself need healing. Okay? And that you have to tap into that energy. It's almost like a very, very humbling type of experience where you look at your life, you look at your world, you look at your history, you look at your character, your nature. It's almost, to me it feels like I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but the story maybe you don't have to go to an animal shelter or something like that, but maybe connect. I know you have a beautiful cat and so on. But I'm talking about something above and beyond that, where you really, really stretch yourself to tap into the divine, where you allow your spiritual antenna to get completely, fully connected to the divine. And then allow that energy to flow. And it might be one of those experiences where it's like a weepy moment, okay? Let's just say that. I'm just going to say it, like where you realize, oh my God, I've lived my life. I've done everything I can. I've sacrificed this. I've sacrificed that. I am a good man. I am loving and I am loved. But why don't I feel that? And that can be very crushing, very sad, very, very painful. There's a huge Pisces theme going on right now. Okay, Jupiter in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and it's heavily supported with the sextiles between Capricorn and Taurus and all of that, okay? So you might as well take advantage of it. So when I see the Temperance card here for you, it's like a very powerful but very gentle message from your invisible friends saying, Gregory, it's time for you to take care of yourself, your health, your physical health, your psychological, your emotional health. What is out of whack? What needs to be taken care of? How are we going to do this? It might be a very humbling, like really uncomfortable experience when you realize, like, because I've been through these things myself. I've helped other people get through these things themselves. When they witness themselves outside of themselves and they can observe themselves as if they are watching a sad little animal in an animal shelter, your heart just breaks open. You think, oh my God, I wish I could save that little animal. And then you realize, oh my God, there's 10 of them. And then there's all the cats and all the dogs and it goes on and on and on. And you can't save the world, so you end up like, well, what can I do? And ultimately, it's save yourself, and that means ultimately heal thyself. Okay, and so when I see the Temperance card here, to me it feels like it's time to grant yourself compassion. To yourself. I am healing, I am healed. 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 But that requires a very humbling and uncomfortable admission that we need healing. Okay? We've worked together before. My sense is that there are a lot of very deep, deep, deep wounds that need healing now, because you've been able to suck up tremendous amount of dysfunction in the external three-dimensional world, because you are very robust. You have this vigilante character where you can help other people, so you do. But it's time now for yourself. It's time for you to heal. Heal thyself. Healer, heal thyself. That's the most profound statement that comes out of the... Anyway, I learned that, and it's very, very true. Healer, heal thyself. Because in your own way, you are a healer, okay, Mr. Ross? But it's time to heal thyself. There's another analogy that I'm thinking of. I'm kind of rambling here, my God. There's a really old movie called The Cider House Rules, and it's something to do with Michael Caine. He's a doctor who helps women with their abortions, but he doesn't do anything to help himself, and he ends up dilapidated, and he just fades, and it's very sad. And that's not appropriate for you, okay? You have a right to heal and be healed. But again, energy flows where attention flows. So if you don't allow that to happen, then you can't be healed. You end up in an emergency room somewhere. And you've already done that at the end of last year. So that's not allowed. Right now we have to have deliberate, conscious self-healing. Heal thyself. What's the problem here? Okay, to me it feels like, okay, thank you, Tarot Lumination. That sounds great, but you have to understand that if I take time out and go into this trippy realm and go into this like self-healing modality, I become very vulnerable, and I could get screwed over at any minute by my enemies. Anybody, there's so many people out there who've got it in for me, and I could end up betrayed, and I'm not sure if I have the skills or the nerve to go back and get what is mine. I don't know if I can handle all of this stuff. Okay, it's understandable, okay? Really, it's understandable. People who have been very badly damaged without knowing it, sometimes they're very courageous and bold and very resilient, but they're still damaged. And then when you take a pause, okay, and you look at things, you realize, oh my God, I am the one who needs healing. Holy shit. Oh my God. And then there's that instantaneous response, like reaction, like, my God, if I start to mind my own business and heal myself in every other way possible, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, blah, 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 then I'm taking time out from my normal modality. And when I take that time out, it's like I could get backstabbed at any moment. And then I need more healing. Okay, so how do we proceed here? To me, it looks like you're very vulnerable, and you're aware that you're very vulnerable, but you don't have a choice, and that you have to take care of business. You have to heal yourself, no matter what. So how are we going to do that? Even knowing that by lowering your guard and directing all your energy to healing thyself, love thyself, however that looks, you might be open to, deception, betrayal, theft, robbery, deception, all that. You still have to go forward anyway, okay? Because remember, that's just fear, okay? How are we going to deal with this going forward? Let it roll, baby. In other words, to me it feels like you're trapped. Like, if you don't prioritize yourself, if you do not prioritize healing thyself, then you end up on a cyclical, karmic, repeating wheel of like, oh my God. Then you realize, 10, 15, 20 years from now, like, oh my God, I remember that reading from 2022. Oh, God, I wish I'd listened better. Holy shit. Because if you don't take care of yourself right now and to take a deliberate time out where it's all about you and healing thyself, and don't worry about healing everybody else or saving the world or anybody like that, anything like that. In other words, if you prioritize the self-healing, then you set the karmic wheels of motion in favor for you. It's like planting seeds, okay? If you ignore this message, you're planting the seeds of like self-demise. In other words, the wheel of fortune starts to work against you and things just go worse to worse to worse to worse to worse to worse to worse. So, that's not allowed. Okay, we're not going to do this on this channel. And so you end up with this challenging situation where you have to prioritize the self, heal thyself, even though you know or you feel or you're scared that it might not work out, or like, what happens what happens when I prioritize my self-healing and living by example? Does that mean I'm going to end up screwed? No. So with the Wheel of Fortune here, to me it feels like it's not, okay, let's put it this way. There's the energy of like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Have you ever heard that expression? And that would be I feel like saying that here, but it's not, I don't think it's really, really true. Instead, it's just the opposite. In other words, if you do not prioritize your healing by deep tuning into what needs to be done, no matter how scary it is, if you ignore that, then you are basically setting the wheels of motion, the wheels of karma, into a slow and steady self-destruction. Okay? And then you don't have anyone else to blame except yourself if you end up in a roadside ditch, covered in maggots and miserable and sad and just hopeless. On the other hand, if you do take care of business, then you are reprogramming, reformatting the wheels of fortune to slowly and gently, steadily work in your favor. It's all about planting seeds. Understanding how the cycles work. And you just want to be on the right side of it, okay? All right, let's have a look. So I hope that makes sense. It's really, really up to you. To me, it looks like it's the sort of reading that you wish you didn't hear. Like, I wish I didn't have to do this. Why do I have to do this? How or why did I end up in this point in my life where I'm dealing with this? But this is how it is. Cheers. You're going to be okay, but it's very important to realize that this is not a joke. Thank you. All right, Necessary, you're up. I don't see a lot of notes. So, Necessary, I'm going to shuffle up here. Looks like a lot of you guys are having these readings on the side and you're helping each other. That's really, really good. Thank you very much. I'm just going to get on with this. And I haven't read all the chat, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to get on with it because we have a lot of work to do. We got to read for Necessary, and then Tina, and then Mimi. Mimi, I hope you're still here. You're going to have to wait quite a while, okay? But eventually you will get your own free initiation, okay? Thank you so much. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, just like we did at the beginning of the show. Okay? Hello, Necessary. Thank you and welcome again. Thank you for your kindness and generosity. Really, really helps you. I have no idea. Maybe you do, but seriously, this little channel and all your donations, it's a really important part of my life. This show tonight feels very different from last week when I felt like I was on a really open stage. I was talking about all these other channels and people where I get information, but right now tonight it's all about the readings. It's all about you guys, okay? Oh, thanks, Mimi. Okay, so Mimi, just hang in, okay? All you have to do is be patient. Sometimes what happens, it's actually quite common on this channel, on this show, where we do readings for people, personal readings for individual people who put their donations in, and all of a sudden there's someone else out there who goes like, oh my God, that reading was for me. It does happen, okay? It does happen because of the nature of how energy works at the spiritual level. Okay? It's perfectly normal, so don't worry about it. So if you are sensing storylines or themes or messages that have relevance to you, Mimi, they do. Music break. Oh, yeah. I'm going to play a little short song here. I'll see if I can find it just for fun. Doo-ba-doo. Let's see if it happens. Let's see if I can do it. My computer, as you know, is at the absolute maximum end of its capabilities. There it is. I got it. These are the lyrics. All you dance crazy people. Calling in John. Yeah, alright. So, calling in John. Okay, things are getting serious, people. I mean, isn't it, I have to say, you know, I have to say, dear Necessary Truth, it is pure entertainment in some ways when I get to do these readings with you, because your invisible friends, especially John and Chris, they have a very vivid energy. And just as I was reading the screen right there, I got this sense like spotlight is on John. Like, whoa. It's almost like pretend I'm John. Like, oh my God. Necessary Truth is calling in John. That's me. Oh my God, I'm under the spotlight again. And it's almost like John is like, oh my God, like, I don't really need all this celebrity stuff. It's not like this is, a huge TV show or anything, but can you imagine the energy of John where they're very straightforward, serious, grounded, and then like this realization, like calling in John. It's almost like, oh, that's me. Oh, I'm on camera. Oh, I'm on sound. I'm being called into the reading. Okay, so that's what I was sensing here. It's just like John is just like, oh, I'm not used to this, but it's kind of fun anyway. It's like, I'm a celebrity. Whew. Of course, I'm not like Chris, who's all out there, okay? But everything that I just described in the last, a couple of minutes happened like that. So I'm just trying to translate it into English and speak it and share it, okay? So yeah. Okay, let's get real. Let's get real, people. Okay, what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Necessary from her invisible friend, specifically John? Okay. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. John is the serious one. Chris is the, let's say, the goofball, the comedian, the clown. However, as you know, goofballs and comedians and clowns are often on a whole other level of vibration than we are. Like, they know stuff that we don't know. Okay? But anyway, here I go. Wow. I would say John's energy is very strong tonight. I don't know why in particular, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to keep shuffling because I want to get, I like the readings to be as clean and clear and precise and unambiguous as possible. And it's actually quite hard to do. I don't know if any of you have ever tried doing tarot readings the way that we do in here, but when a storyline unfolds, like when I open the cards up, it's literally like just switching on a YouTube channel or a Netflix show, and all of a sudden, there it is. And then you have to interpret that and find a way to put language to it in a way that human beings or clients or followers or viewers can understand. Because it's very visual, it's very clear, it's very personal, and I literally do the best I can to pull that energy down into what we call here the English language in a way that I can communicate here on this channel, which is conducted in the English language. Yep. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, everybody, chillax. It's just another tarot reading from Tarot Lumination. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going totally blind. What kind of messages do we have here tonight from John for Necessary? Okay, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. here's how we're going to handle it. Okay. Again, surrounding energies, environmental influences. Of course, I almost always default to the planets, but you never know. So, we've got the Five of Wands here. Okay. So to me, it feels like, okay, it's gonna come spewing out of me, okay, necessary? John wants you to know that whether you are aware of it or not, you are in the thick of it. You're right in the middle of some kind of really important, I don't know if it's life-changing, but very, very immersive kind of life experience right now, where you are being challenged to the tips and the edges of your abilities. It's not good or it's not bad. It just is what it is. And so you end up in a situation where it's like, okay, actually, let's put it this way. It's more like an awareness. It's almost like John wants you to know that excuse me, dear necessary truth, in case you're not aware of it, things are a lot more robust and active and challenging and dynamic than you might imagine, even in your wildest imagination. This is a very unique, special time at this moment. And I'm talking about literally right now, the power of now. We have this massive Capricorn stellium cluster. However that impacts you, okay? Necessary. I'm not going to get into your personal astrology or anything, because that would take hours and we could do that. But this energy is extremely important right now. And it's all about creating like stability and reality checks in your life, in your world, regarding the physical, material, financial aspects of your life. Think of it in a very Capricorn way. What about your long-term stability? What about taking care of business today? What kind of profound changes and transformations are happening right now? And what is the trajectory for where it's looking like, where it's going right now? And that's all happening right now. Secondarily, the Aquarius new moon is happening over here, okay? See that moon? See, there's the moon right there in the middle, that little green blob there. The moon, I didn't do that deliberately, but anyway, it's there. So the moon is going to move into Aquarius in a matter of hours. And then for the next 2 days, the moon is going to go across here, okay? So wherever that lies in your chart, whatever aspect of life this triggers, it's very, very, it's like it's not a point of critical mass. It's not a do or die thing. It's all about right now, tonight in this reading, it's like, wake up, okay, dear necessary truth. Even though you are already a highly evolved spiritual being, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. John wants you to know that as we head into this chapter here, even though we have all this energy piled up over here, when it comes to the sun and the moon and Saturn, okay, it's going to be all about this, okay? The Aquarian theme, and it's going to challenge you in some ways, but not in a way that's painful or awful or miserable or anything. It's all about, like, it's going to take you into a position where it's just like, how am I going to do this? Give me a second. To me, it feels like John is trying to say, like, I don't know if you do fitness exercises or anything else. It's just like, it's time to do some like push-ups, some pull-ups. It's time to do some homemade yoga. It's time to like pull out the yoga mat, do some kind of very like really physical stuff to get your physical body in a place where you can handle what's going to start early next week and extend for the next 2 weeks. And it's going to be like a vortex of energy. And the way to deal with it is by creating, I mean, this is going to sound very weird as a reading, okay, necessary, but the way to handle it is for the next 2 weeks, this Aquarius energy is actually very supportive for you. And the Capricorn energy is very, like, about serious, tough reality checks, okay? But to go forward and to optimize this energy, to make the best of it, what it requires is for you to kind of like take on this, like, you know how they do with Falun Gong people over in China, and where every day they do this practice where they have all these yoga, advanced yoga things like, and they do all this stuff. To me, it feels like it would be really advantageous to like shut the curtains, put yourself in a room somewhere where you have enough space to move around, and you deliberately do things like breath exercises, slow, low impact, personalized, homemade, make it up as you go along yoga to get your body in condition to be able to receive and transmit the energy that is happening around you. Remember, necessary truth, you're already a highly advanced spiritual being. You're already an instrument of the healing power of love. But we're taking it, there's a lot of pressure to take it to like the next level, where to be optimal, you have to put some work into it. And it feels very much to me like it's not for the rest of your life. It's just for the next few days, the next week or so. Take, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day and do your own pretend homemade yoga. Okay? Where you can get yourself physically, biologically into the space where you can handle anything that happens here. Okay? Anything. All right? All right, so what's the situation itself? Okay, because things are changing. With the World card here, to me this feels like a very big, gradual, slow experience where life as you know it is essentially over. Life as you have known it is essentially over. And life as it begins and unfolds in the future is at this moment an unknown quantity. And that doesn't matter. What counts is the understanding that you are at a profound chapter in your life where it's the end of not just one lifestyle package deal, but a whole, it's almost like the whole of your life as you've known it. Everybody has chapters in their life, infancy, childhood, youth, like going to school, all the craziness and chaos, growing up, and then maturing and becoming an adult, and then finding your way in the world, and so on and so on. And you have all these amazing stories of how you did so well, and all these crazy stories about how everything was a disaster. And it all turns into your identity, your character, your personality, your history. But with the World card here, to me it feels very strong that this is such, I don't know if this actually extends for over a couple of years, but because the way I do astrology and charts, I look at things for years at a time, okay? the 27-degree Pluto. This little tiny blip here, it's oscillating back and forth between 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees Pluto. It takes years to do this. But eventually, time moves on and Pluto moves into Aquarius, okay? But for the next 2022, 2023, and early 2024, it's all about this. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here. The situation is to look at your life. It's almost like John is saying, yes, this is what she needs to hear. Okay, it's to look at your life from a very, very, very high altitude and realize, like, my God, life as I have known it is essentially over, and there is a new interpretation coming up. And it's not going to happen like, next week or the week after or next month. This transformation here is going to happen over the next couple of years. Okay? All right. Okay. So it's the end of the old and the beginning of the new. But, this is not a Pluto card, but to me it feels very much associated with very, very long-term history about how your life unfolds. And this is just a very tiny little miniature tarot reading, and it's a singular moment where it's important to understand, like, there's life before and there's life after. And that's happening for the United States. It's happening for the global economy. It's happening for the global financial system. And it's also happening for you personally. Okay? Now, what's the challenges here? Okay. To me, it feels like deep down you know that it takes teamwork to get through all this stuff. It's like you already know what it's like to have good people around you, where you are valuable to them and they are valuable to you. But you might be sensing deep down, like, oh my God, am I ever going to have this again? Or am I completely on my own? And am I going to lose all of my relationships that have value? Are all my people who value me, are they going to lose me? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, that's understandable. Because, as life changes, like for example, as you know, just a little random thing here. So necessary, as you know, I spent 20 years in Los Angeles. I worked for years in Hollywood, movies and TV and stuff like that. And yet here I am today, I'm living in Las Vegas. Nobody told me I would be here, but here I am. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job of adapting. But there's a part of me which feels like, oh my God, I've left behind all my friends and associates, my whole team, my whole support system. I am there for them, they're there for me. Okay? But the show's not over. There's a whole new world unfolding, and so it's not the end of the world. Okay? Even though you might feel like, well, if my life as I know it implodes around me, I'm starting to have to look and plan and strategize for a new life. Where's my support system? Where's my team? Where's my people? I'm there for them, they're there for me. Oh no! So how do you move on in the context of that deep fear? Okay, so we've got the Temperance card here. My feeling is like, hey, Tarot Illumination, calm down. It kind of goes back to basics again, where... How am I going to put that? How can I... Okay, this is like a weird interpretation, okay, necessary, but to me it feels like it's about living by example, like the way we talked about in the Precious reading earlier. It's almost like you are being challenged to live by example in the world of healing. So, for example, however that works out, I have no idea. because you're already a healer. You do remote viewing, you're a psychic medium and all of that stuff already, and you're involved in the traditional three-dimensional world of, employment. And there's it's a very different experience, but you are straddling both worlds simultaneously. My feeling is that going forward, understand that you are very slowly and gently migrating into the world of being a healer for others. For that to happen, it means, again, like we were doing earlier, heal thyself. Okay? So this looks like a very, very long-term, broad spectrum reading. And it's almost like John is giving you a bit of a heads up so that, whenever you get lost in the details of the moment day by day, day by day, day by day, please remember this reading. The show is not over, okay, necessary? It's just that there's big changes happening, but they're very deep and slow and subtle. And the farther and farther you go into that new world, that new interpretation, that new incarnation of yourself, you might feel every step of the way that you are losing your connection with physical reality, physical stability, the people that you work with, the people that work with you, that constitute physical reality, and yet there's no compass, no guide maps, there's no guidance for how things look in the future. But in a way, it doesn't matter. It's just understanding that you don't have to know everything right now. It's just more about understanding that life as you know it, life as you have known it, is essentially over. And over a very slow period, a new version is going to appear. Okay? Okay. That's the reading. Luckily, with the temperance here, it feels very comforting, very, very safe. But this feels very big, very long term. All right, Tina, you're up. I hope you're still here, Tina. I think if you're up in Helena, so you're probably on the same time zone as me. I'm not really sure. All right, let's put all this deck back together, and we're going to shuffle up, and we're going to read for Tina. Heather Mocha! Okay, so you're over there in British Columbia, right? Under pressure. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Under pressure. Da, 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 me. Under pressure. Isn't that David Bowie? He died a few years ago. He was a true artist. True artist. He was a Capricorn, born with Pluto in Leo. There you go. Tina there. Okay, hi Tina. Great, okay, cool. All right, let's see what's going on. Tina is just recently relocated to Helena, Montana. It's probably very chilly there right now, but I don't think she's dealing with the stuff that they're dealing with on the East Coast over in America. Tina's in mountain time. Okay, so over here, it is 7:30, so for you, it's probably 8:30 p.m. Got it, okay. Hi, Tina. Hey, necessary. I just got a bit of a kind of a soft, gentle tap or man hug from John. It's kind of like he was saying, I like working with you, man. Anyway. So I just wanted to share that. No big deal. Tina, right, okay. So yeah, Heather's over there in Vancouver. Tina, Ava is. Why is Ava freaking out? Why would she be freaking out? Does she have any friends? Has she met any new doggies? Is it the weather? Can she go outside and run around? All those kinds of things. I'm kind of curious. Okay, I dropped all these cards. Forgive me. All right, let's see. Whoa. Sasha is one of the other dogs, is that right? Finally got pissed off and bit Ava. $200 vet. Whoa, that's serious. I understand that Ava is a bit of a handful. Maybe Sasha got pissed off and said enough is enough. Let's have a look. Oh my God. Hello, Bridget. Hello, Bridget. Over there in Amsterdam. Thank you, Necessary. Bridget Asher, I haven't seen you here in a long time. Thank you. Sasha is the mild one, and Sasha bit Ava. Whoo! That is serious. I'm sorry. That is really serious. Bit her snout. Good grief. And Sasha is the mild one. Oh my God. Things must have got really feisty. All right, Tina, let's see what's going on here. Oh my God. Tina, infected unless... Oh, that's bad. Oh my God. Oh. So we're talking about antibiotics. I guess it's all about establishing the pecking order. As far as I recall, Ava is a German Shepherd, and they can get really big. They can get very powerful. I had a German Shepherd when I was a little tiny kid. Do not want to mess. Ava the terrorist. Oh my God. Ava. Well, Ava is still very young, right? And maybe it's about time that somebody put her in her place, you know? Maybe it's the best thing that could have happened to her. Maybe, you know, like Sasha decided, excuse me, you little hussy. You need to understand how things really work in the dog world. Good grief. All right, let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have here for Tina tonight? Tina is, it says, she waited too long. Ava is small, 55 pounds. 55 pounds! That sounds pretty big to me. All right, let's have a look. Oh, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, Tina, I'm kind of having laughs and chuckles over here with, you know, regarding Ava and Sasha and the dogs and everything like that. But this reading is about you, okay? So we have here... I got the Page of Cups. My feeling is that the energy right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the reference point. This is the astrology of today according to Tarot Illumination with an astrodoodle. Okay? Huge emphasis on the North Node in Taurus, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this early in the show. Very strong earth energies, very stabilizing, very comforting. Huge conflict here with the Aquarius-Taurus thing, and that's all about global finance. This is all about global finance. This is all about global finance. So yeah, finance is a big issue. But anyway, some of you may know that Tina has gone through a huge change of life situation herself, literally starting from scratch. And with the Page of Cups here, my feeling is that it's important to know that, yes, it really is true. You really are starting from scratch, and that there is so much to learn, but it's all new, you know? Like, so Tina, most of the people who come here to this channel, sometimes I have kids, sometimes, well, I don't have kids, the channel is not operational for kids, but sometimes I get teenagers and 20-somethings and so on. But most of the people who come to the channel are older than that, and they have had a certain amount of history in life. So when I look at the Page of Cups here for you, Tina, to me it's an indication that you have a lot of life to live. You've already lived a lot of life. You've given so much, you have shared so much, and all of it is in the context of loving and then being loved, and then discovering it's not that simple, because you have been loving, and you know what it's like to be loved to a certain extent, perhaps more with Sasha and Ava and the dogs than with humans or whatever. But anyway, you understand the concepts of be loving, be loved, being loving and being loved. And then here we are now, you're at the very, very, very early stages of this new life, new world, new location, new environment, new city, new state, new town, all of that stuff, starting from scratch again. And my feeling is with the Page of Cups surrounding you, it's just like, hey Tina, like, the show is not over. There is so much more to learn. And it's much more to do with this here than like this here, or, you know, something to do with your wallet or time or career or all those like traditional things that you're supposed to think about and worry about in day-to-day life. And so with the Page of Cups, it makes me feel like you've set yourself up to start from scratch and learn from scratch. Of course, you have everything that you bring with you already. Like, you know, when I do those big heart spreads, like the second card is all about the baggage. What are you bringing with you? Yes, you have lived a substantial life. And yes, you have baggage. Yes, you have history. Yes, you've had pain and suffering and betrayal and deceptions and loss. But you've also had bounty and benevolence and good fortune, enough to balance things out where you can start from scratch and completely reprioritize everything. And you've already done that, and you're already doing it. And so when I see the Page of Cups here, it's all about just like realizing like, wow, it never, ever, ever stops. Cheers. Ah, beautiful. Thank you. And so with the Page of Cups here, my feeling is just like you're in an extremely fortunate position where you can kind of look at your whole life, your whole world from scratch, and then reorient, recalibrate, reformat yourself to live a life that's much more healthy for you in terms of these really simple concepts that we have here at the channel, like be loving, be loved. You are loving, you are loved. So what does that actually look like now? What? Love thyself. Oh, Tarot Illumination talks about that stuff all the time. Love thyself. Wait a minute. I spent my whole life taking care of all these really sick, effed up people. And then Tarot Illumination says, well, what about you? You know, it's time for you. Okay, Tina, you have a right to be loving and be loved. But I guess it's about context. I guess what I'm saying here, the Page of Cups is about context, understanding like you're in a situation where you can look at things in a very, almost like in a childlike way, like, oh my God, I don't have to clock in with this, payroll thing or this place of work. I can just wake up and do stuff. You know what? Let's go for a walk. You know what? Let's think about some, home improvements. Oh, you know what? Let's explore the neighborhood. Oh, whatever it is. But you come at it from this energy here for you, dedicating yourself to you. And no apologies. You just go forward and it's like, wow, I didn't know it was. I didn't know that human beings had a right to do that, or that it's actually a possible lifestyle choice. Interesting. Okay. So what's the situation itself? Let's have a look here. Okay. So I've got the Justice card here. So to me it makes me feel like you're starting to realize, like, wow, it really does work like this. In other words, planting seeds that have consequences. And so if you want good consequences, plant good seeds. And if you are unconscious and you plant bad seeds in the wrong place, or bad seeds in fertile soil, then you create really bad outcomes. And so to me it feels like this is not personal, but it's more like an observation where you get to realize, wow, there are so many parts of my life where I've realized, like, I planted good seeds over here, and that created good karma outcomes over here. And then when I planted unhealthy seeds over here, that created unhealthy outcomes over there. Wow. So now I have the ability to compare and contrast this with this. And you realize you have choices, you have options. And so, like, when you talk about be loving, be loved, it's almost like every day, the number one most important decision is to be loving. So what is the most loving thing you can do today, right now? And then plant that seed. And then you just go and do it. And then justice is served. And then you get what you deserve. Wow, that's freakish. That sounds like physics. Well, in a way, it is physics, because that's actually how it works. It's very, very neutral. If you look at her expression, it's extremely neutral. And it's really all about you. What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? It's really all about you. You plant the seeds every moment, every day, every hour, every week, every month. You're planting seeds. And then those seeds create outcomes. And then so it is. And that is justice. So, there you go. Oh. Why didn't anybody explain it to me exactly like that before? Well, we'll see. Anyway. Oh, look, I just saw some notes there from Tina. I met my neighbors today. I have to go back to work. Yay. Okay, let's have a look. What's the problems here? What's the challenges here? Okay, so with the Fool card here, dear Tina, you may not be used to kind of living on the tippy edge of like, what the bleep happens now. Oh, wow. It's actually an extreme privilege. I was going to say privilege, but my mouth was saying privilege. I'm sorry. So, dear Tina, right. So the problem here is that if you're used to living life in a very, let's say, contained way, like, eat, work, sleep, responsibilities, commitments, obligations, blah, 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 and now you're recalibrating to this new life, and you're not used to like, oh, wait a minute, waking up in the morning and realizing, wow, what am I supposed to do now? Every step forward, everything that I do creates an outcome. Get it? Planting seeds, karma, and all that. And so, again, it might make you feel almost like it's like dizzy, being dizzy, where like, it's in some ways it's really nice to be like you're talking about. You got to go to get work. It's sometimes it's really nice to have work, like a job, because for a lot of people, work is salvation, work is sanctuary, work gives people a sense of meaning and purpose and value, and you get validated and you get compensated. And so, in your situation, I don't see anything to do with work here, but you mentioned it on the chat. So it's just like, yeah, okay, you said, so yeah, I've got to go back to work. On the other hand, it's very weird to wake up in the morning realizing I don't necessarily have to do it today. But yeah, so it's like disorienting. It might feel very strange, like I'm not used to waking up every day thinking like, what am I going to do now? As though I'm a multimillionaire, I can just do whatever the bleep I want. Okay, so how are you going to deal with this kind of disparity going forward? It's still very much about adapting and learning and this very sweet new kind of level of innocence and starting this new life, recalibrating, going back to absolute basics. Remember about planting seeds. Okay, I've got this new life, new world, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much, TL, blah, 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 blah. But waking up each day realizing like every day I'm planting seeds. And eventually those seeds bloom and blossom and I can harvest or not. Am I planting weeds or am I planting fruit and vegetables? That kind of thing. So how do we deal with this going forward? Okay, very carefully. Okay, we move forward very carefully, understanding that you don't always have a clear perception all day, every day, when you would like to have a clear perception all day, every day. So instead, with this new life going forward, you move gently, one tiny little step at a time, sort of like scorpions and lobsters and crabs. Crabs especially, they tend to move quite slowly and very gently because they know that they are highly desirable as food, and they know that they're very vulnerable when they shed their exoskeleton, so they have to be very careful. But either way, the way to keep going forward is to understand that you are literally facing new horizons, new life, new world, new landscapes where, look at the dogs. Even the dogs are there. Look at that. And this is, you could say this is a scorpion or a lobster or a crab or whatever. Okay. But you go forward anyway. Even though you don't actually know the full definition of the landscape here, You go forward anyway because you know you have to, because this is the new destiny, the new life path that you have set for yourself, and you go forward. Look at the doggies right there. Obviously, the doggies are very much a very important part of your world going forward. Look at that. And you learn how to trust your feelings. Even if your feelings may not, let's say, match up with your external, what's the word? Like the really obvious external signals and triggers about, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Instead, going forward, please give yourself permission to move very gently, one tiny step at a time, and check yourself with your emotions, your feelings, and your intuition. And don't allow it's like the worst thing you could do is feeling like you have to be obliged to go back onto autopilot and kind of do a repeat of all the lifestyles and lifestyle packages that you've lived before. No, you don't have to do that. Yes, maybe you do have to go back to work in some way, but it might not be in the way that you would immediately anticipate. In other words, allow things to unfold. Give yourself time and permission to explore work options going forward, new landscapes, and what does that look like for you? Because that's all part of the planting seeds and creating outcomes and karma for your so-called future. Okay? Okay? Yeah, look at that. That's good point, necessary. Thank you. The majors are playing. Yeah, look at that. These are all major arcana. So when I see a huge wall of major arcana like that, it might make you feel as though like you don't have any control over your life at all, and you're literally kind of living some kind of predestined life path. Well, in a way that might be true, because this might be a chapter in your life where you are living out something that in some ways is predestined, and now you are here at this moment of critical mass, and let's say starting with the Aquarius new moon, with the help of all that massive Capricorn support system, you can venture forward, even though it might be scary. I mean, look at these two cards together. I mean, seriously, yeah. It would be understandable if you have a little bit of trepidation of like, oh my God, what am I going to do today? Oh my God, what am I going to do tomorrow? Yeah, okay, so you're saying like, oh, I need to go back to work. No rush. Just take your time, move gently, one step at a time, because every step forward you are heading into the unknown. That's not a good thing, that's not a bad thing, but it can actually be extremely liberating and very enjoyable. But remember, the important thing is to remember that with every step, you are planting seeds, okay? And seeds can go on fallow ground, seeds go to fertile ground, seeds can grow and mature and turn into something really bountiful, or seeds can die and fade away, and you end up spending a lot of time and energy in planting seeds on dead soil. It's not worth it. So I don't want to go deep into that theme, but please remember, you are planting seeds every day. So make the best of it. Yeah, this is, wow. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. Major, major, major. So this is visual. Let me see if I can put this up here. I'm going to do something. So you got to really, I hope this works visually for you. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it going forward. Okay? And that's the surrounding energy. So it's sweet and it's innocent and it's pure. You're okay and you're going to be okay. But there's a lot of unknowns. Okay? Mimi, you're up. Finally. Okay, Mimi. I need a pee break, so give me a while. We've been going 3 3¾ hours. It's been a long show. This is going to be the last reading of the evening, but seriously, I need a pee break, okay? So I'll be right back. I will entertain you for a few moments. All right, Mimi, cards are well shuffled, but I'm going to shuffle more when I get back. So please bear with me. Give me a second here. Okay, I'll be back, folks. I just have to. I'll be back. All right, give me a second. Made it. Hold on, stay right there. I'm almost ready. Okay. Whew. All right, Mimi, you're up. Oh, let's have a look. Okay. Does my close good friend Chris Virgo ever have feelings for me? Because I'm having conflicting feelings towards him because I don't know if he feels the same. I'm a Sagittarius. Okay. All right. First of all, let's get back to basics here. Okay, Mimi. Okay? Okay, so Mimi, you're a Sagittarius, and your good friend Chris, he's a Virgo. Does he ever have feelings for you? Okay, well, let's go to basic astrology here. In terms of Let me do this. Okay, Mimi, hang in. This is a miniature Lumination Astrodoodle. This is just regarding Mimi and this fellow Chris, okay? So, Mimi is a Sagittarius sun, okay? Sun in Sagittarius, okay? All right, let's have a look here. Now I got to get back over to this part. No, sorry, technical stuff. Cheers, Mimi, by the way. Thank you for visiting. In terms of Western astrology, this is the Sagittarius vibe up here, okay? The sun in Sagittarius represents like the 9th house, which is all about adventure, growth, spiritual advancement, endless new horizons, beneficence, optimism. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is by far the biggest planetary object in our little solar system. And then we have Chris, okay? The Virgo Chris. Okay, that's this energy over here. Chris is Sun in Virgo. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. It's a completely different energy vibe. And, you know, okay, so Mimi, I'm not making this stuff up. It's just stuff that I've learned over many years. And I got to give it some credit. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this angle here? And then can you see this angle here? This is a 90-degree angle. And in Western astrology, the 90-degree angle is always challenging or stressful. Okay? And that could be whether it's, you know, Capricorn, Aries, or Gemini, Virgo, or whatever. So typically, if you just purely look at the sun sign, you, Sun in Sagittarius, Chris, Sun in Virgo, you automatically, by definition, have a challenging situation. Now, does that mean it's going to be miserable or frustrating or loveless or abusive or destructive or whatever that's horrible that you can imagine, okay? So, and honestly, because I've done, you know, thousands of readings for people over the years, astrology and tarot, Sun square Sun. This is called Sun square Sun, and when they use the symbolism, it looks like this. So your sun sign is square to his sun sign, and so that's the symbol that they use. Sun square Sun. And in any situation where you have Sun square Sun, there are very obvious outward challenges. However, the beauty is that you can learn and grow so much. If you are born and raised, let's say we did a really deep astrology reading together, and I found all sorts of red lines and triangles and everything, and it looked very, very stressful. Does that mean you're going to have a shitty life? Not necessarily. It does mean that you are challenged and that you are going to be challenged, but yet you chose those challenges, okay? And so in your situation, because you are obviously connecting to Chris, as Chris is connecting to you in some way or another, and you're wondering what's going on here, and perhaps you're thinking, like, is this romance or something? The key issue, you know what? Let me get my colored red ink. Ha ha ha. Look at this. This is a classic square. This is the 90-degree square, okay? You see that? That's 90 degrees. So typically, Sagittarius Sun, let's just say you were born with Sagittarius Sun 15 degrees, and he's born with Virgo Sun 15 degrees. You're going to have a very exact hard square. So by definition, you are going to have challenges in your relationship, and it's going to be very obvious, okay? It's going to be very obvious to you. It's going to be very obvious to him. Does that mean it's not a worthy relationship? Does that mean you can't have a loving relationship? No. I know all sorts of relationship dynamics where the loving partners have Sun square Sun. Yes, they do have conflict. And sometimes it's very, very difficult. But it's still possible to be loving and be loved. Now here's the difference, okay? Let's say you were interested in someone, or someone was interested in you, and they happened to be a Leo or an Aries. Then that would be a very natural energy. It would be just so natural. You would just flow. And you wouldn't question it. It would just be like da 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 da. But when something really shitty happens, you might not be prepared. You might not have learned anything. And then what appeared to be a really harmonious relationship can start to suck. Okay? So anyway, obviously you're concerned. But this is what you're dealing with. Okay? By definition, you're dealing with a relationship dynamic that is challenging in the traditional sense, hard squared to begin. All right, so let's keep going anyway. It's not the end of the world. For all you know, you might be a real gift to each other. And you learn through challenge, through little bits of, gentle conflict. All right, cards are already shuffled, but I'm going to go to the last second so that you're aware. When you really get deep into the astrology, it doesn't matter. The squares, the oppositions, the trines, the sextiles, it doesn't matter. It's a question of how you deal with the energy. The default settings are like the hard squares, like Sagittarius Virgo, or Cancer Aries, or, Leo Aquarius, that's an opposition, or whatever. It's not the end of the world, it's just that it is what it is. So let's just see what's going on here. I'm just going to do a very simple diagnostics spread for you, Mimi. What's going on with you and Chris? Okay, let's just keep it really, really simple. And that's actually the best way to deal with a tarot reading. Rather than saying things like, does he love me? It's better to go like, hey, Tarot Illumination, what's going on between me and Chris? Okay, and you leave it open, and you go from there. Oh God, I'm making a mess of this. Excuse me, Mimi, I'll be right. I'll get it together. It's been a long show. I've been doing really long readings. I don't know why, but anyway. I remember I used to do 4 hours, 4.5. I even did a 5-hour show once. That's too much. It's not healthy. It's not natural. Marathons don't really work for me. I can do them, but They take it out of you. All right, Mimi, here you go. Cards are very well shuffled. Let's bless this deck like we did all the others. Bless all the cards. Thank you, Mimi, for being here. You're very courageous for showing up at all and willing to expose yourself to a live reading in public. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the surrounding influences. Now, I usually default to the planets, okay? I love to blame everything on the planets, okay? Here we go. So, we got the Five of Pentacles. To me, this is an indication. With the Pentacles, you're talking about measurable energy. Okay? So, it's like really evident. Like when things are working, you'll notice. When things are not working, you're going to notice. Because you're going to feel it in your physical, material life, in the relationship dynamic between yourself and Chris, and between Chris and yourself. And when you see the characters here, you have to understand you're dealing with the energy of choice, the energy of decisions. Just because this looks like a miserable card, it doesn't mean there's misery. To me, it's more of an indication. You have to be extremely aware in a naturally conflicted dynamic, Sagittarius Virgo, a hard 90-degree square. You are going to experience conflict. You are going to clash with Chris, and Chris is going to clash with you. So the question is, how do you deal with that? And so when you understand that you are dealing with this by choice, in other words, you don't have to deal with Chris if you don't want to. Chris doesn't have to deal with you if he doesn't want to, but you seem to be in some kind of exchange right now. And so you have to understand that there are certain situations where, like, you can impoverish yourself and Chris. Chris can impoverish you and himself in a relationship dynamic that could be technically, theoretically so conflicted that there's really no hope at all. In other words, why even bother to try and make something work when the chances are already against you? I'm not saying, hey, dear Mimi, go out and look for an Aries. Go out and look for a Leo. Make your life simple. Make your life easy. No. All I'm suggesting here is be aware that every time you consciously, deliberately engage with Chris, or every time that you allow Chris to consciously, deliberately engage with you, you're putting yourself at risk to being challenged in a way that you're going to notice it and you're going to feel it. In other words, oh my God, I just spent the last 5 hours arguing with Chris. Or, oh, I just wasted 2 hours in a futile fight with Chris about doing this. Are we going to do that? Or am I going to do this? Or are you going to do that? I thought you wanted this. I thought you wanted that. And so what can happen is you can start wasting and depleting a huge amount of energy trying to make something work that's already, has the hallmarks of not being able to work. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world, because you can learn it's possible that you can learn a tremendous amount from Chris, and Chris can learn a tremendous amount from you about what does not work. You can learn a lot about what does not work for you through Chris, and Chris can learn a lot about what does not work for him through you. Let's put it that way. Here's the situation. Okay, you have to kind of look at it in a very blunt way. We're at the very, very tippy end of a lunar cycle, okay, Mimi? It's a Capricorn moon right now, okay? But this was a 4-week period, okay? And now we're entering a Aquarius new moon right here. New starts, new beginnings with the Aquarius vibe. It's a very different vibe. But right now, tonight, we're still dealing with this huge Capricorn energy theme, which is very harmonious and comfortable with you, which might have led you to feel confident enough to come here to this show and kind of get hazed, initiated, okay? And yet, Monday or Tuesday, you're going to start feeling the vibes of the Aquarius new moon. It's a totally different theme going forward. It almost bears no relation to the Sagittarius Virgo stuff. And so, with the World card here, if you're honest with yourself, if you are placing your relationship with Chris under certain levels of expectation where, like, I would like this to happen, that to happen. It would be great if he started chasing me so I don't have to chase him. It would be, wouldn't it be cool if he was, is he interested in, does he love me? Let's say I'm interested in him, but does he love me? If you're already at a point where there is evidence that you might be in an unworkable situation, like it's already, it's not even, you don't even have a chance, like it's already failing before you even start, then you might have to come to this realization for yourself, Mimi, like, oh my God. Remember the energy of choice here. Did I deliberately pick a relationship that has the characteristics of failure? Am I going to end up being crippled by him? Is he going to end up being crippled by being with me? Is it actually worth my while? Am I going to actually lose out in this relationship? And if so, is it time for me to wake up and realize, oh my God, I should end this now before I even start? In other words, so we might be looking at this, like with the Aquarius new moon. It's just like, wait a minute. I need to put a stop to this before it even starts, because you might be one of these people who is being naturally drawn. I guarantee, Mimi, if we did a very deep, expensive, personal, private reading together, all recorded, and we did the deep astrology, blah, 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 I guarantee we would find the connections about why there's you and why there's Chris, and what works and what doesn't work, and where things can go from here. But right now, in this little mini reading diagnostic, to me, it has a strong characteristics of, like, it's over before it even begins, okay? And you might not like that message. And because you end up in a situation like, well, what am I supposed to do now? I want to love. I want to be loved. I deserve to love. I deserve to be loving. I deserve to be, I want to love. I want to be loved, okay? And so people naturally reach out in love and relationship. But if you're in a situation where it's over before it even begins, then it's better to know now, so you don't waste huge amounts of time and energy finding out the hard way. What's the problems here? Okay, one of the problems here is that you might be deeply attracted to him, or he might be deeply attracted to you in a way that is more to do with lust than love. Okay? For whatever reason. Something is, like, perhaps it's a sexual thing. Perhaps there's some kind of, like, really primal attraction between you and Chris and you, and you are feeling it at a really, really primal, like, physical, biological level in your DNA, to the point where your hormones are in control rather than your heart or your spirit or your mind. And so maybe you needed to be aware of this, okay? Now, let's see how we're going to handle this going forward. Okay, so with the Ten of Pentacles, my feeling is to look in the mirror, understand that this is an energy of wealth and bounty and abundance. Oh, gosh. To me, it feels like this is actually kind of awkward. I mean, I love the Ten of Pentacles in its own right, but going forward, it makes me feel as though you have to understand, Mimi, your own wealth, your own abundance, okay? Your own richness, your own value, your own values. And that is incredibly important, okay? With the Sagittarius vibe, you might not normally look at yourself that way, but with the Virgo tangent aspect here, maybe that's part of the reason of the relationship, is to make you realize things on a very Virgo, material, physical, highly measurable, scientific level, where you have to understand your own self-worth. So in other words, I don't want to go into the deep dynamics of the relationship here, but is it actually worth your while going into this relationship, especially if it is driven by lust and hormones and so on, like a sexual dynamic? And let's say it's so. Let's say you are attracted, he's to you and you to him, and something culminates. Are you aware of the consequences of what happens in that situation? And typically what happens is, like, when people share themselves, their lives, and their whole being at that level, you're literally giving them everything you've got. And they might be taking everything you've got, okay? So please understand, the way to go forward is, I would say, look in the mirror, understand your own self-worth, understand that you are very valuable to you, and you need to understand that in yourself. And are you willing to squander that? Or are you willing to risk that in a relationship dynamic where it's already ambiguous to begin? Okay? Obviously, Mimi, you're going to do what you're going to do, whatever that is. I would be very interested to learn what happens here in the longer term. But, for example, if you are deeply attracted to this Chris, but you're not sure if he's attracted to you, have you considered how your body works, your mind works, your physiology works, your spirit works? If you are driven by hormones or deep attraction, could that be very dangerous for you? Could it be that's the worst thing that could possibly happen? I'm not trying to scare you, but sadly it's a very common story, okay? All right, Mimi, that's it. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. If you want to follow up, please, we'd have to do that on a professional level. And you can go to terraillumination.com. You can book private reading, personal readings, and all of that. And I do it all through PayPal, okay? Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't scare the poop out of you with your mini freebie reading here. You were very brave to come and show up at all, frankly, okay? All right. Okay. All right, Mimi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure to read for everybody here tonight. I'm going to check out really quick. I'm just going to music my way out of here. We all have lives to live. The Capricorn massive stellium with 5 planets is going to be over in a few hours, and we're going to be moving towards the Aquarius new moon. It's a totally different vibe. We're going towards the Leo new moon in 2 weeks. Thanks for the water, by the way. Take care. Love thyself. Know thyself. Be loving. Be loved. All of that good stuff. I don't know how to wrap this up gracefully. I'm going to do it in a kind of a blunt way. I'm just going to say goodnight, okay? Love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all your generosity. It means so much to me. Ka-ching, I can't tell you. Well, I am telling you, so there you go. Cheerio. Toodaloo, bye-bye. I wish you all the best. My blessings. Be loving, be loved. I know that you are loving. You are loved. Remember planting seeds and all of that.